Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Kneon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And it's time for another daily dose of Dismal Disney. We're going to talk about this OpenAI debacle with Disney. Of course, they signed a $1 billion deal with OpenAI to use their characters, and artists are very, very angry.
Yes. Now, again, like I said, it's their characters, so they could do that. And people that are mad because of the stuff projects they've had in the past, and they're afraid that they're going to use that for the AI. If it's work for hire, they're allowed to do that. But moving past that into future projects is where the concern lies, and that's understandable.
Yeah, so we're gonna have a discussion about this. We're gonna pull up some tweets. We're gonna go out to Blue Sky, where there is much weeping.
Blue Sky, of course.
Weeping and gnashing of teeth. And when you have a company like Disney that is historically known as like the most creative, artistic company out there, except not recently, but historically has been known as the most kind of like a haven for artists, right? To have them turn around and be like, yeah, we're just gonna pay OpenAI $1 billion to do AI slop of our characters.
But they're not saying they're using it for making things other than, user-generated content for their channel to try to compete with YouTube and stuff.
They absolutely are.
But I'm saying, but they're just going to use you guys using it to train it probably to replace you later.
Yep. So we're gonna talk about this. Before you get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. You'll get woohoo if you do.
Woohoo!
Go out to more.clownfishtv.com. That's more.clownfishtv.com to get more of us if you actually want more of us. So thank you for the support. So I don't know where to go with this. At first, I think we can talk about the reactions on Blue Sky, and then we'll talk about a couple of artists who have actually come out and said that they're not going to work with Disney or work on Disney projects anymore because of this. And the Animation Guild is also big mad.
Yeah, but here's the thing. I mean, I'm not saying it's right in any way, shape, or form. But if you guys are out there saying I'm not going to work with Disney, they're going to be like, barely an inconvenience. We don't care. We're either going to replace you faster with AI, or we're just going to step over you and find somebody else who's willing to do it until we can replace them with AI. I'm not saying it's right. I don't think it is right. I'm just saying that's what's going to happen. But I appreciate and respect the sticking by your guns. I do respect that.
So this is coming from Traditional Animation on X. They retweeted Boardwalk Times. OpenAI Sam Altman says the demand for Disney characters for their users has been off the charts. Now, apparently they pulled down some of the Google VO videos of the Stormtrooper blogs and stuff like that that I was talking about. They pulled them down. He says, going to be a wonderful start for what our customers want to do when it comes to putting themselves in a lightsaber fight in Star Wars, or making like a Buzz Lightyear custom birthday video for their kid. I think this is going to be like quite a big deal for our users.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm sure that people are going to be using it like crazy, and that's what they want, because then they're going to use it to train it and everything else so they can move on to other things. And I know that Disney has proprietary, they bought in with their accelerator programs, different AIs that they're using for animation now that are actually really, really well done. They can do in-between work. Of course, you're not going to have access to that, but they have it.
Well, that's the thing, right? Disney is trying to make a strategic alliance. They're trying to lock down this technology, or at least get, I think, chum up to OpenAI. And I still would not be surprised. I would not be surprised if Disney didn't distribute the Critters movie.
But, here, I was just going to say really quick, people are mad about this, right? And I'm not saying you shouldn't be mad about it. But what I'm saying is the reason Disney and companies like Disney and Hollywood want to use AI is because the cost of films have gone so ridiculously sky high, as everybody wanting more and more money. But beyond that, you have a bunch of people over at Pixar, Disney, that were like demanding, we need more inclusion. They were so mad that Elio wasn't more inclusive and all this other stuff, pushing for the stuff that is not going to fly with general audiences. But they're demanding it. They spend way more money than they should. They go way over budget. They push things back really far, and then it doesn't make any money. So your, constant activist bullshit, your constant, we got to keep getting paid and driving this budget higher and stalling out and adding and taking out stuff because we want to put stuff in, and then getting mad at Disney when they walk it back. That's why you're getting replaced faster with AI, because they're tired of spending 3 times what it should cost to get no returns, because they listen to you and put in your stuff that people didn't want to see.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I'm just going to get that in there. You're going to get mad at me for it. You go ahead, stay angry. It's the truth. It is what it is.
So this is Glitch Productions that they put a tweet out. They said, "The fuck are they doing?" That's literally it. That's what they said.
That's funny though.
Oh my God! Now we're gonna have pregnant.
I know. All I'm
Judy.
thinking of is the Spider-Man Elsa videos, but like on a higher scale, like a nicer scale.
Yeah, people were bringing that up. Actually, they were talking about being ElsaGate. I guess they called it ElsaGate.
Yes.
With all the low rent Spider-Man Elsa shipping videos. Yeah.
But now it's going to be with AI, so they can get away with a lot more probably.
So this is Ben Cohen. This is the beginning of the end of Disney and a major blow to copyright protection. I can't believe they rolled over so quickly. They should have sued OpenAI into the dust for training on their characters without permission. Pathetic and short-sighted. And no, they're looking at the bottom line and they're like, oh my God, we can make 10 times as many animated movies and they cost a tenth of what they cost now. And if y'all bitch, you're gone.
They probably just partnered up whoever thought they had the most reach, gave them the best deal. Yes. Was going to work with them the most. That's what they probably partnered up with. But, you know, I don't understand the copyright thing. It's like, it's only going to apply to copyright things. In Disney's case, they're giving them permissions.
Yeah.
So it's not really rewriting copyright law because you still have to give permission. You can't just take it. They're already upholding that stuff by going around striking everyone and cease and desisting everyone and going to lawsuits with everyone outside of OpenAI. So they're not doing anything that's going to change copyright law other than the fact that they'll win. They always get laws changed to make sure they benefit.
Oh, yeah. Green Casey here says it was never about protecting artists because, you know, pointing out correctly that they've been suing other AI companies.
Yeah.
It's always been about money and control. Oh my God, shocker.
No, Disney's about money and control.
Shocker.
Are you call me surprised. I never knew. Oh,
yeah.
God,
yeah, here we go. Google's removed dozens of AI generated videos that depicted Disney owned characters. These are super popular, these Stormtrooper vlog videos. They're really popular on YouTube too.
And I think a lot of them look like fun.
Yeah, they're actually pretty fun.
I had me hanging out with the Ewoks. We're like, hey, let's go kick some Stormtroopers' asses. I don't miss.
Disney and fools are begging.
It's like, step over it.
I don't either.
Go ahead. I've cleaned the toilet. Anyway, continue.
Disney are fools and begging for a boycott over selling out to OpenAI. Well, let's talk about that because there are some boycotts already. This person here, this is Inkwell. I'm not trying to put them on blast, obviously, but just pointing out that this is a professional artist, Dustin Panzino, who worked on the Lorcana cards and said, with the recent news, I'm deeply disappointed and disgusted. I'm proud of the work I've done with the Lorcana team. Everyone at Ravensburger has been amazing and supportive. Currently, they do not allow the use of AI in the production of their artwork. I will continue to support my colleagues on the game, but for now need to separate myself from the Disney IP. Disney would be nothing without human artists, and with AI or not, they will continue to be nothing without human artists. For that reason, I don't think this will last. However, for now, I will no longer be taking on any further assignments or work based on Disney properties.
Okay, a couple things here. One, ironically, there was a whole stink over the Lorcana thing, the game anyway, because there was it Topps? I mean, it was already developing a game very similar. Yeah. And their team, the team that was there, left and went to, allegedly, left and went to Ravensburger and took this, basically what they had already done. And then they got to keep it over there, which was kind of shit. But two, you know, again, I really respect that you're putting your money where your mouth is. Like, I don't have to agree with you, but I respect the hell out of that. I respect you for that because that takes guts and that's a ballsy move. Do I think that it's going to do anything to change anything? No. Do I think they're just going to replace you with somebody else and Disney's still going to do AI? Yes. But I respect very much so your willingness to just walk away from it and say I'm not associating myself with it. That I respect that.
See here, this person says that's the way. Once they see how the boycott is real from both artists and fans, they may get back to their senses. Sad reality being that this may is conditioned to impacting their bags. See, this is the thing. What is going to happen? Well, one, I think that AI, the capabilities of AI are being massively overstated. Yes. I think that's good for some things. You do need a human operator, but if they are successful, even if they take, cut a few corners or whatever, as long as consumers are willing to buy it, even if it's not as good as human produced content, or it's barely noticeable, the difference is barely noticeable, they're going to continue to do it. And it is here. And I keep trying to tell people this, like, you don't have to like AI. I'm not telling you have to love AI. What I'm telling you is in 2 or 3 years, it is already embedded into pretty much every creative tool.
Yeah. It's embedded to everything, and that's not a good thing because nothing gets done and AI keeps screwing everything up. Just ask YouTube.
Yeah, and it is an shitification. And I don't know, I mean, we might get to a point where it's like, yeah, we have got to go back. But I mean, the flip side of that is Disney decided to dip out of doing 2D animation, and they still have yet to go back to doing 2D animated movies.
I was going to say, like, oh, there's going to be people who are going to push against it. Yeah, in the art field and stuff. A lot of people are anti-AI. That's true. But a lot of people aren't. And it's going to basically go by what is the norm. What are the normies going to do? Because if it goes on to Disney Plus and they get to do all this stuff and make these videos of themselves and their kids, they may eat that shit up, and then it's not going to go back.
Yeah.
It's going to be up to basically what the majority do, what the normies do, what the mainstream audience does. Doesn't matter what I feel. Doesn't matter what you feel. What's going to happen is Disney's going to look and see how much money they make off it, how much leverage they get from it, from everybody else who just aren't invested in this like we are, and they're going to go by that, right or wrong.
Yeah, and that's the truth. I mean, that's the reality. At the end of the day, money talks, and if there's massive amounts of money to be made, and they can basically input everything that's ever been done by Disney into a magic machine and then generate some new stuff on the fly, they'll still make them money. They're going to do it. I mean, that's it. Somebody pointed out here, Jack here pointed out, with all the human slop over the last decade, maybe AI will be an improvement.
I don't know. That's what I was kind of saying. Some kind of Disney has not done well.
Let's see here. Yeah, Blue Sky is being Blue Sky.
Oh, Blue Sky's always blue.
Yeah, they're not real happy about it. But here's the Animation Guild. Let's go out to Cartoon Brew. The Animation Guild on Disney OpenAI deal. Animators deserve to know how their contributions to Disney's global success will be used. Now, I want to jump in here as a former Disney comic book artist and tell you the deal, at least the deal as it was presented to us, is you do work for Disney. They own it. That's it.
This is what I was talking about yesterday. Like, outside of this, okay, moving forward with the future and how they're going to apply the stuff, I get where you're coming from. But you can't go by the stuff in the past. Unless you have a special deal where you got to keep your rights, which I highly doubt, being that it's Disney.
Yeah.
Disney owns it. If you did the work and you're working as an animator at Disney, Disney paid you a salary, they own it. If you were, a writer that came in for Disney and Disney, had you write back before and it didn't violate your contract in any way and you were paid for it, it's owned by Disney unless specified other ways. And so they're going to take that and train it. And there's not a damn thing you can do about it, because whether you did the work or not, you're part of a team that the work is owned, paid for, and completely, 100% controlled by Disney. So
Yes.
your work for hire, this is what goes with it.
Yeah, and it was understood, especially with the comics work, that since it was owned by Disney, whoever has the comics license gets to republish the work without any additional compensation. So I've actually had some of the stories I've worked on have shown up in publications all over the world years after I worked on them, and I don't get a royalty check.
Well, not just that, people who did new things. It doesn't matter. It's still owned by Disney. They use the license. So whenever the license goes back to Disney, guess what else goes back to Disney? The stuff you did.
And the sad truth is, as somebody who reads up a lot about Walt Disney himself, everybody's like, Walt would hate this. Walt would hate this. I'm like,
no, I think he would have liked it.
I don't know if he would have hated it that much. And especially after the animation strike, I don't think he would. If he thought he could control everything, because he wanted to micromanage a lot, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think he would have been like, wow, that's great. I can be the animator on everything. I can use this technology to make a whole bunch of me.
He would have wanted it to replace everyone, or
not everybody.
People, but if he could have used it to streamline things, make things less expensive, move it faster, and have more control, yeah, he'd probably like it.
He'd use it to replace Art Babbitt because he had a beef with Art Babbitt. He'd be like, "Oh yeah, you want to strike? See ya, Art." One of the greatest, if not the greatest, 2D animators to have ever lived. Art Babbitt was amazing, regardless of his politics. He was incredible. Anyway, this has come from Cartoon Brew. IATSE Local 839, which is the Animation Guild, chimed in on the recent announcement of the partnership between the Walt Disney Company and OpenAI. The agreement has prompted significant blowback from the industry, from fans, just about everyone. TAG is, of course, primarily concerned with the monumental implications this deal raises for its members, but it also argues that the partnership's potential negative impact will extend to consumers and families worldwide. According to the Guild, as a company built on carefully... I have to chuckle a little bit.
You have to read it with a straight face.
Has a company built on carefully stewarded intellectual property and trust with audiences, Disney's embrace of Gen AI introduces uncertainties around creative integrity, data use, and the protection of user likenesses, especially those with, think of the children, particularly those of children. So it's striking, although not surprising, that Disney's release was careful to include the agreement does not include any talent likenesses or voices. Live action performers are protected. Animators are not.
Again, your voice is protected when you are a voice actor or an actor. Your likeness or voice is protected because that's your brand. That's like your personality. That's you. So like you go to other projects, you don't change your voice. Your voice goes with you. You know what I mean? It's like it's part of you. You doing art as work for hire isn't the same thing. I'm sorry. And this is kind of people who did work for hire for Disney Comics. It's not the same thing.
I mean, that's the thing. Like, so I drew Mickey Mouse. Well, it doesn't mean I own Mickey Mouse. It doesn't even mean that I own his likeness on, even though I drew that artwork or whatever, it doesn't mean that it's mine. And, even people who are working on projects that create these characters, it is understood when you sign the papers, unless you have a different agreement in place, and very few people have that kind of power, you're a spoke in a wheel at Disney Co., at Pixar, at whatever, wherever it is, and you're just there to make the hamburgers, basically. It's no, and I tell people, and they get so mad, artists get so mad, and I'm telling you, as an artist, you're making art to the company is no different than you're making hamburgers for McDonald's. You are hired to make hamburgers. You might make the best hamburgers ever. You might make them a little bit different. You're not supposed to if you're working at McDonald's, but you know what? You might do a little something you've got the best hamburgers ever. People come in at exactly 2:00 in the afternoon because they know you're going to be there, and they're going to get a hamburger that looks just like it does on the sign. And that's fantastic, but you don't own the Big Mac, right? You get your paycheck and you go home, and they can fire you whenever they want to. And that is the truth of it. And you have to you want to put your all into it just because you want to help put something out into the world that is of quality. But the reality is if you work for hire, it's never going to be yours. You're like a surrogate parent, right? It's never going to be your baby, and they can take it back at any point in time. And I mean, it's heartbreaking. I get it, especially if you worked on a project for years and you put a lot of sleepless nights into it, whatever. But you don't own that thing. And I think part of the reason why we're not seeing the groundbreaking creative projects like we used to. We're just seeing a lot of sequels, and in comics, we're not seeing a lot of new characters in comics and stuff, because I think artists have finally realized that, like, I'm never going to own this thing. So I'm just going to kind of
get paid.
Yeah. So I'm just going to phone it in. I got hired to work on Spider-Man. I'm not making any new characters because you can make a new character and they can run with that character, make, billions of dollars off of that character in movies or whatever. And then you don't get a penny of that.
Yeah. Or they get you something. It's like pittance compared to what they made at theater, which we've talked about many, many times. So it is what it is. And like I said, moving forward, the guilds, we're going to watch it closer because we're into a new contract and stuff. But if you're trying to go by the old stuff being trained on it, you really aren't going to be able to win that one because they own it.
Yeah. And so, I think what's going on just in general, we have, more videos coming talking about unions and stuff with AI, is they are losing control. And I'm telling you, AI is being used as a threat against people who would unionize, because they'll be like, you know what? If you won't play ball, we'll replace you with a robot.
But they're going to probably do it anyway.
They're going to do it anyway.
They don't seem to understand that it's not going to work as well as they think it's going to work.
No, this is bean counters. This would be bean counters making the decision, not fully understanding the limitations. That was like, Iger going all in on whatever. He was probably like, oh, you know what? Just fire everybody at Pixar, because they fired a bunch of people at Pixar. We'll just make movies in my office. I'll just sit in my office and I'll bang out a Moana 3 or whatever in the shower. And I'll just talk to Siri, and Siri will make me a movie. Yay, maximum profit. And that's not how it works. But there's going to have to be a balance. And I think the balance is going to be, this is going to be a tool. There are going to be fewer people, but just realize that you don't have as much leverage as you used to either.
I'm surprised he's not doing an AI version of himself to keep running the company after he leaves, even though there's somebody else named in charge. He's like, but the AI Bob says.
Bobbot.
Because that's what he tried to do with Chapek and stuff.
Robot.
He's still going to be, working with these people and kind of running it anyway until even when he's gone, I think, like under his tutelage. So the Bob bot will run everything to keep keep it Bob's way.
I'd rather than bring Walt Disney's frozen head back with a robot body.
Yeah, that'd be better than more Bob Iger. Are we going to wrap this up?
Let's wrap this up. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. We'll talk later.
Bye.